Life is good, but it could be better. Welcome back, guys, to another edition of Bamcomixs. I'm your host, OC. This time we're going to be taking a look at Wonder Woman 1984. Here's our review. Fast forward to the 1980s. And if you like this show, guys, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit those notifications for the latest and greatest news, reviews, movie reviews, unboxings, and all that we have to offer here at Bamcomixs on YouTube. Was very excited, very excited for Wonder Woman 1984. As you can see, we're big fans of Wonder Woman here in the house. Wonder Woman 1984. This movie was gonna be like so big. We were so excited. And guys, just like a big shout out to everyone following us and all the Wonder Woman maniacs, all the DC heads, all the comic book heads, all the comic book fans. Wonder Woman, you know, she's riding lightning across the sky in this movie. She has wings of gold. She's chasing a dream. And in the pursuit of new foes, according to the description and what we saw in the movie, the film is 2 hours and 32 minutes long. I felt that the movie was too long, actually, but we'll get into that. Directed by Patty Jenkins, with the story by Patty Jenkins and Geoff Johns, with a screenplay written by Patty, Geoff, and David Callahan. So the screenplay was written by three people. It had this story. Patty and Geoff, they came up with this story about, you know, Wonder Woman being in 1984. No particular reason for it, you know, no particular reason for it. Just let's go with 1984 as the backdrop to this new movie. And as we can see, guys, it was just a blast to be in this time period. It reminded me of the old Superman movies, and there was like a lot of tones in this movie that took inspiration from Superman. Especially, I thought Superman 3, which was was one of the funnier Supermans. But being a fan of Richard Donner, I think, you know, she has just like great taste in filmmakers. And of course, Richard Donner himself, who, you know, gave us the first modern superhero film with Superman. And it's just like a joy to watch her work. I think Patty is an amazing director. And yeah, Miss Jenkins behind the camera, she doesn't play. What I liked about the movie, the visual effects, of course, were amazing in this film. Everything from, of course, Wonder Woman's costume, to the character designs, to just like the costumes, to the look, to the feel. It definitely had that Richard Donner vibe. In the beginning, you know, we flash back to her childhood. I don't really know too much what her childhood had to do with the rest of the movie. I guess the message of it being that no good heroes are born of lies, and, you know, if you want to do something, you have to do it the honest way, not lie, not cheat, not steal. And of course, that was that. So the visual effects, the music, the cinematography, all of the actors in this movie were amazing, particularly Pedro Pascal and Kristen Wiig, which, wow, her turn as Cheetah was just amazing, guys. I had no problem with the actors, with the exception of Chris Pine, because I thought that this movie didn't really need Chris Pine. It's like, you know, Steve Trevor, let's move on, okay? Steve Trevor had his time already, okay? Yeah, so that's what I liked about the movie. Of course, the visual effects, the cinematography, the music. In 1984, you know, after Geoff Johns and Patty Jenkins set up this prelude to the movie in her childhood, where she's being taught not to lie. And she has to go about things with honor. In 1984, we flash forward and she's on the street saving women. You know, little girls are stealing from the shop. A bride gets knocked over, but she's saving women. And we get our first commercial into Maxwell Lord. And Maxwell Lord, man, he's kind of like this shiesty con man type of dude, which I thought was really cool. I like the way Pedro Pascal played Maxwell Lord, he definitely gave a nuanced take on the character, which is different from the comic version of Maxwell Lord. But I wish they would have gone with something more to the comics version of Maxwell Lord, because I think that DC, especially like in films in Warner Brothers, like they could use some more villains, you know? It's like villains that you can use again and again and again, okay? You could set them up and you could build up the villains just like you build up the heroes, right? And it was a bit disappointing for me. There's like this mall, everyone's having fun, and there is what in the mall, and like all of this wacky opening sequence, right, to the Wonder Woman, heavily on Superman number 3, all right, heavily in Superman 3, like you could see the tones and the cues, like everything, right, in Superman 3. And then the movie opens up in this mall, and in this shopping mall, there's a jewelry store. Inside there's a black market. In the back of this jewelry store, there is a black market crime happening where they have all of these illegal artifacts. Now, these dumb criminals, they know this for some reason. I don't know how they know it, but they know that that's a front. They go in, rob the place, and they leave. As they're leaving, instead of going down the stairs, because one of them drops their gun, instead of escaping, they go upstairs. I don't know why they would do that. One is hanging, one of the criminals takes a kid, it's holding hostage, Wonder Woman comes in, like, yo, this whole sequence was really badass. It was really good. You see Wonder Woman in her prime, you see her, she's doing her thing. I really didn't like about the movie, what I thought like prevented the movie from being really like a top level movie, like the first one was amazing, is the writing of the third act, and just like the length of the movie. Like, this movie could have been 30 minutes shorter. It was like, it came in at 2 hours and 30 minutes. So there was a part in the movie when Maxwell Lord got to Egypt. Well, that's like about at like 1 hour and 30 minutes. But even after that, I felt that I was checking my watch and saying, okay, it's time to wrap this movie up. Listen, the movie had a good feel to it. It was like a very comic book movie, and in that they succeeded. It's just the writing of the third act. When it comes down to the third act, the last 30 minutes of the movie, I just thought that, you know, Wonder Woman was going to throw Maxwell Lord in jail. Like, all of this stuff that happened from the Wishing Stone was the fault of Maxwell Lord. When he became the Wishing Stone, it's kind of like the whole movie went on this like ridiculous rails of everybody granting wishes, and at the end, you know, Wonder Woman is like, okay, well, everyone has to now take back their wish. So if you wish to be rich, if you wish for a dead relative to come back, you have to kind of give up all of those wishes. So there was only 2 options. She could destroy Maxwell Lord, or everyone give back their wishes. And what it turned out to be is that everyone gave back their wishes, and that's a happy ending, and everything is solved. So I thought that was pretty lame. What did you guys think at home? Leave us some comments below. What did you guys think of that? Anna's now working in the Smithsonian in cultural anthropology, where she meets Barbara. And now this role by Kristen Wiig did amazing as Barbara and Cheetah. And so, you know, the Wishing Stone helped her to become more of a badass. But, you know, it's just like, guys, you could be the villain, but what did Kristen Wiig lose as part of the wish? She lost her humanity. Like, now when Kristen Wiig got upgraded, when Barbara got upgraded, she was almost gonna kill a guy. There's several of my favorite parts of this movie, and one of my favorite parts is when Cheetah and Wonder Woman are fighting in the White House. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was a great scene, but Wonder Woman in the comics is depicted as overpowered. In this movie, as a result of the wish for Steve Trevor to return, it affects her powers. So now, you know, instead of kicking over tanks and flipping over cars, she actually will get hurt by bullets and, you know, other dangers. And I just thought that, you know, that was an interesting take on Wonder Woman. Now you kind of see her weakness. But as soon as she renounced her wish, I thought that she was gonna get like super strong and be like this OP Wonder Woman, and it really didn't happen. She couldn't take down Maxwell Lord. She had to use her lasso to wrap around his leg to communicate through him as Maxwell Lord takes over the airwaves and communicates to the whole world what their wish is. Life is good, but it could be better. That's my favorite part. Pedro Pascal did an amazing job in this movie, and he killed it. The stone, everything was focused on the stone. This stone has destroyed civilizations, the Mayans, everything. This stone, like if you get your hands on this stone, it has collapsed civilization. So this stone is bad news. And when Maxwell Lord becomes the stone, everybody is indebted to him as he grants all of these wishes. But I just didn't find it believable. I mean, there's a certain, suspension of disbelief, right? When you're watching a movie, of course, these people don't exist. It's fiction. But really, people just all around the world giving up their wish, I don't really see that happening. I mean, I thought Wonder Woman was going to punch out Maxwell Lord and throw him in the slammer, like how Superman does to Lex Luthor in the Superman movies. At the end of this big scheme that Lex Luthor was planning, just like Maxwell Lord has his scheme, Superman grabs the villain, and at the end of the movie, as he's flying over the prison, throws him in the prison and keeps flying away. And in this movie, it didn't do any of that. Maxwell Lord is reunited with his son, who it's like an estranged son, but hasn't really, he doesn't really care for his kid like that. But his kid had a wish. They're there. It ends on a happy note. It ends in Christmas time. We flash forward after all of the destruction that Maxwell Lord has caused. We flash forward to Christmas now, and Diana is standing next to the man who was possessed by Chris Pine's character, who was possessed by Steve Trevor. This man who, in the body of this man who she was with. And then this man, he's never seen snow before. He sees the snow, he's like, it's beautiful. And then Diana is like, yes, it's beautiful. And then the whole end, it looks like a Macy's commercial. It looks like either a Sears commercial or a Macy's commercial. It ends with a red balloon flying in the sky, and Diana's like, there's so many things. And then that's it. Cut. Oh, Patty, you're such an amazing director. Patty Jenkins is amazing, but the writing wasn't good. So I give this movie a 3 out of 5 stars. It could have been great, but it was just too long. And Act 3, I thought, ruined the movie. I didn't really care too much. I wanted Maxwell Lord to go to jail. People even pet a dog at the end, and that's how the movie ends. One of the things that I didn't like about the movie, I didn't like that, number one, Chris Pine's character, I thought that Chris Pine got an easy paycheck in this movie. He just appeared there. I just wish that if Diana had made the wish, right, when this would make this movie a lot less awkward, is if Diana made the wish and the real Chris Pine character, the real Steve Trevor would just appear, just the real Steve Trevor. Not like a Steve Trevor in the body of a man, and then, it's just so weird because Diana is all for truth. She's all for justice. She's a hero. She's a hero. And would she be comfortable with knowing that a man who is just an innocent civilian man is being possessed by the spirit of a former lover, and now Diana's just gonna borrow this body for a couple of days and go to this guy's apartment? It didn't make any sense. And then when Steve Trevor came back, it's like everything he sees, like, I understand, okay, there has been new technology in 1984 that he's not experienced, okay, because he's a man out of time. Like Captain America, he's a man out of time. So when he comes to the 1980s, in every scene, you see Steve Trevor like that. In every scene, Steve sees water. He's like, oh my God, like that. You're like, oh, like, come on, like, Chris Pine. To me, he looks like a Mr. Potato Head. Chris Pine. I have a shot of Chris Pine in this movie looking at a train passing by, and Chris Pine is just like, he has his mouth is hung open. And then, like, they're flying the invisible jet. Chris Pine sees fireworks. This is like a World War II pilot. He's seen explosions. He's seen fireworks before. And he looks at it, he's like, what's that? You know, it's like, it's the 4th of July. Okay, they fly the invisible jet. Diana's never used this power before, but she uses it, and it's the invisible jet. Now, Act 1, strong. Act 2, listen. In Act 2, Maxwell Lord, like, the best parts of this movie, to me, are whenever you see Kristen Wiig or Pedro Pascal, right? Because, okay, I'm used to seeing Diana, but Pedro Pascal in this movie, when he goes to Egypt, right, to talk to Amir Saeed, right, who's supposed to be this huge oil baron, based on one page of a magazine that flashes really quick, and he says, okay, well, what is your wish? He wants to wish half the land, and Maxwell doesn't get the oil. He wants to be the richest in the world. Maxwell doesn't get the oil, but he gets the security team. And that whole chase on the highway when Maxwell Lord is escaping with Amir's security team and Wonder Woman comes in there, that was like one of the best scenes in the movie. That was action-packed, okay? Maybe some people didn't see that action, or like, oh, it doesn't have a lot of action, but that was action-packed. She's trained as a warrior. She uses her lasso a lot, but I wanted more hand-to-hand combat, you know, with Wonder Woman. And we're not gonna see another Wonder Woman for some time, so give us some of that, all right? Especially with that third act. I mean, that brings everything together, guys. Like, you could have so many things going right, but if that third act just loses it, everything goes off the rails. Everybody, the acting and the characters in this movie is strong. It's solid. I liked how, of course, Pedro Pascal, Kristen Wiig, of course, Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. That's a perfect casting for Wonder Woman. That's like one of the best castings for like a superhero since Christopher Reeve's Superman. I think that she's really, like, when you see her, she embodies Wonder Woman. She's like the face of Wonder Woman. Like, comics is like, this is Wonder Woman right here. I can't see anybody else in this role right now as Wonder Woman, but with the exception of course, the famous and the first Wonder Woman, Linda Carter, okay, who makes a special appearance at the end of the movie. It's sort of like an end credits kind of thing, as of course the ancient warrior who was the original one to have the gold suit, who defended against the evil of men as the women were escaping and they wanted to form their own society, the Amazonians. And that was great. But I just felt that they should have set something up for the third movie. And I just felt that at the end, everything felt flat. I mean, there was all of this build-up and really no quick payoff. The final battle between Cheetah and Wonder Woman was great, but in terms of like the visual effects, I thought they could have been more practical. A lot of CGI in that fight, which was alright, but I like my fights to have like more real life choreography and less CGI computer. The score, man, let me tell you something about this score. There's like music that when you hear it, immediately flashes you back to the 80s. They had so many cool themes and so much cool music that they could have borrowed that. They could have also put in some quick, and they did, but this thing 1984 should have been chocked full with 80s stuff, man. I felt like the movie was like maybe like, I don't know, it wasn't 100% 80s. It could have been 100% 80s. It could have really done the 80s vibe, taken it to the max with music, man. Imagine Diana flying in the sky, which is one of my favorite parts, by the way, and a callback to the Richard Donner earlier Superman films as she's learning to fly. So I really like the character. I really like how she flies at the end. That was amazing. Cinematography was very solid. The light, the costumes. As I said, guys, the look of this movie is amazing. The look of this movie is a 5-star look, guys. 5 stars. So I'm not knocking the movie in any way. Just the writing part, the third act, which to me brought the movie down, because it was so exciting, everything that was happening, that I finally would like to see the villain of the movie get his just desserts and be locked up. It's like, you know, be careful what you wish for. That could have been the last line of the movie, man. Diana could have just threw him in prison, and to Maxwell Lord it says, Be careful what you wish for, Max. Right? Like, wishes have negative, because that was the whole point, right? If you wish for something, right, you can also get something taken away. I guess in Max Lord's instance, the more he wished, he started getting weaker. He started having blood come out of his eyes and stuff like that. But in the end, he had so much life force from the planet all around him as he distributed his signals from the satellites, right, to everyone. And he was being broadcast all over the world, that at the end of the day, his wish is that he's thrown in prison for being a liar and a cheater, because isn't that isn't that the whole moral of the movie, that liars can never win, right? So his whole life has been a fraud, and we saw that, like, even in the flashbacks. But yeah, man, throw him in prison, like, come on. Yeah, the pacing was great. Like, well, the pacing was great, like, you know, in the beginning of the movie, and then the middle, it was just like, you know, it was just like somewhere toward the middle. I didn't think that the movie needed to be, as I said again, I didn't think the movie needed to be 2 hours and 30 minutes long. This movie could have just been 2 hours. 2 hours and 30 minutes long. If you're gonna give them a movie like that, it has to really transition quickly, and it has to move fast, and it has to have a satisfying payoff. Definitely a satisfying payoff if you're going to be there for 2 hours and 30 minutes, which I feel that this film didn't have. And Patty Jenkins is an amazing director, okay, guys? So don't let this fool you that, you know, she's directed Monster and the first Wonder Woman, and she will go on to direct Rogue Squadron. So visually, with her directorial eye, she's amazing. The tones, the colors, the cinematography, everything. The score didn't really stand out too much for me, but other than that, the movie looked beautiful, guys. This has been our review, guys, of Wonder Woman 1984. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for our next movie reviews, our graphic novel reviews, our game reviews, and more. And please hit that subscribe and notifications for the latest and greatest in the kingdoms of comics, movies, games, and more. This has been your host, OC. Have a wonderful week, guys. Have an awesome day. Keep collected, stay cool, and peace, guys. See you on the next one.